We were flying on Buddha Air over the Himalayas, along the Ganges to Varanasi, after a week in Nepal via San Francisco. The small plane was in a quiet, content mood, a mix of pilgrims, rock climbers, engineers, tourists, several families, and a large contingent of monks in saffron robes. It is said that contemplatives give calm to a place, so perhaps it was the monks, or the fact that there were no video screens behind each seat that made it seem we were all floating through the skies. Or maybe it was the blue luminescence of the sky and the snow-capped Himalayas in the distance. Here we were, our hands entwined in each other's, 30,000 feet up in the lower atmosphere. And I am her and she is me, an infinity of particles entering into an affinity of more or less interconnected relations. We are one and multiple. Over the real world soars an imaginary world. If the truth is that all is illusion, then life and love must be the most elusive of illusions. Philosopher Peter Sloterdijk writes in his Spheres trilogy that our existence generally takes the form of the bubble, the complex of intertwined intimacies which form us while also interpenetrating us. Our bubbles do not protect us from the external world, they compose who we are, precisely as they determine what we assume are the limits of our experience. The archetypal bubble for Sloterdijk is the womb, that originary sphere in which humans become human, and which, for a while, seems to define the boundaries of the world. The very enclosure, these very boundaries, that self-structuring totality that was shattered when Copernicus let us know we, in the West, were no longer at the center of the universe. Once in the human imaginary, under the Great Mother, now in the West, humanity as a child had grown up and on its own into what the French philosopher Pascal
expressed in reference to this vastness after the Copernican turn as
the eternal silence of those infinite spaces that fill me with dread,
which formulates the intimate confession of the supposed Enlightenment epoch. Now remember, the 8th century Indian philosopher Adi Shankara, sure you all remember him? 800 years before, Pascal would postulate the identity of the self and the whole, and that this silence was speaking rather beautifully. The Indian culture and its metaphysics were not only comfortable with infinite space and time, but multiple universes that go on forever and ever. The universe was not just speaking, it was listening. Yes, it was listening. Listening. What an extraordinary thing. The things the Hindus saw, they saw through intuition. Intuition was knowledge. We are told now to fasten our seatbelts. All around, I had never felt such calmness. Certainly it was that sound, an entire layer of vibration that engulfs us. The trust and unity lovers have gives each of them confidence and strength. Yes, I love. On the whole, the West's receptiveness to the voice of the East has been limited to periods of spiritual emergency. to moods of futility and despair. Its attitude to Asia was either that of the conqueror armed with his gun and gospel truth, or that of the pilgrim in sackcloth and ashes, anxious to prostrate himself at the Guru's feet. If the Greeks aspired for immortality granted men by exceptional deeds, the Hindus aspired for something beyond time and history, and that was eternity. By the time Hegel wrote his lessons in the philosophy of history, the east of the world with respect to Europe was situated in the past, where history began, but where it no longer dwelled. The east belonged to a different time, tradition, and tradition did not have its own discourse. It was created by the discourse that defined modernity. Modernity implied the West. Reason, history, state, and rationality. The East implied tradition, ritual, myth, community, and emotion. The primitives belonged to the history outside of Europe, conceived either as the past, China, India, or the future of history, America, or people without history, Africa. To be modern became an ideal, and the standards of these ideas were established by the discourse that defined modernity as the location and time of the ideals to be obtained. The other, in space, time, belief, skin color, or place of birth, was of a particular kind, a part of humanity in the world that was unknown. But of course, what really counted was not that it was an invention, but rather the geopolitical order and the historical consequences of such an invention. The reasons for this enduring enchantment, this coloniality of power, is the fact that the discourse of modernity, the enunciation that defined modernity, the enunciated, was successful in hiding the fact that there could be no modernity without coloniality. This coloniality became exceedingly apparent to young Americans in the 1960s with the indiscriminate murder of the Vietnamese people. This brought on what has been termed the New Age and the Human Potential Movement, where the young, like the Hindus of old, would ask, what is it that I want? Immortality or eternity? Let us not spend the evening to set up false binaries, but to ask ourselves, or for me to ask myself, where am I? Just what the very notion of I might mean in a post-modern world. It was thought, with sexual liberation and psychedelics, a utopian vision of a new world would free itself from extractive materialism and the terror of the bomb and war to initiate a new, non-materialistic, non-militaristic, and open and plural society. It would be known as the New Age. And something of that world, those values, that way of life, was hoped to shape the future of our total society, our utopia of the future. It would not just be a state of mind, but an actual place. The wave of novelty that has rolled unbroken since the birth of the universe was now focused and coalesced itself in our species. The world was about to transform itself. Soon, we are settled into our pink tower room. It's sparse with high ceilings, a fan and a large white netted bed, with mirrors and colorful walls. And there outside the window, leading onto a balcony, is the Ganges River, where lit candles are floating downstream. We put away our luggage, take some pillows and nestle up right on the balcony under a full moon. The sounds alone start to hypnotize us as we watch, mesmerizing, coming in and out of sleep for the next hours. I could not sleep and stood up. I wanted to walk into the night, but I did not want to leave my lover here alone. Soon I saw my shadow on the far wall. I turned round to see that full boom of the moon, that sphere, that bubble, low on the horizon of the Ganges. I started to extend my hands this way and my feet that way, and jump and move and run and tumble. And for a moment I thought my shadow was multiplying. I was having a wild rumpus with myself and my new friends. In common folklore, the presence of a full moon is known for being the cause of a man becoming a werewolf and bringing out the beast in him. I thought I was in a quirky horror comedy slipping away into the darkest recesses of my psyche, just jumping up and down and tumbling, wondering if I had a twisted obsession with a woman who in herself was not real, but my projection. Yes, I was madly in love with her, or was I going down the rabbit hole consumed with the mysteries of the universe? I went to check on her, and she was gorgeously, deeply, sensually asleep. A sleeping Venus. She was Gaia, goddess of the earth, and Eros, the source of all creation, dreaming me and us, here over the Ganges. Never mind the obscure interiors of the universe. My God, what of this lovely human being beautifully asleep in front of me? Wow. It is said that sleep does not take away strength, but reason. Sleep removes us from rationality, making us completely oblivious to what is happening. Are we sleeping, I asked. Hindus see dreaming as divine and prophetic, and one of the most reliable sources of insight. They interpret dreams and the whole world as illusions made by a god named Vishnu. Hindus divide consciousness into waking, dreaming, and deep sleep, and believe that both dreaming and deep sleep are more important than waking. This is the opposite of Western culture, which considers waking as the main state, the synonym for the real. Sleep as a complementary state, and dreaming as unreal. In the Buddhist tradition, Tibetan monks practice dream yoga, a meditation technique that instructs dreamers to recognize the dream, overcome all fears when lucid, and control the oniric content. In fact, lucid dreaming is required as a mental state for the initiated to reach mystical experiences. But what could be said of somnambulism, the state somewhere between waking and dreaming? They were so crispy, these shadows, and how they moved like shadow puppets. I played some more and soon was not sure who was moving whom. Now a cloud came, and for a moment there are no shadows at all. I was crestfallen, sat looking at a blank wall, until one returned. It seemed very sharp. I approached closer to the wall, wanting to touch my shadow. I thought it was staring into my eyes without blinking once. I took a deep breath and told myself,
All is mind, and within mind the brain is appearing and operating. I am a full solid emptiness, I told myself. Relax.
Now it appeared as if my shadow, my demon, ran off. Literally across the room and out the window into the Ganges and into the moon itself. Oh no, this is not good, I thought. Not good at all, I thought, as I turned back to the moon bright as could be. Being man, we must walk in space. Damn, yes. But since he is the digest of the body that brings space back to his body, he can live within himself without space and in the absolute void. Yes, here we go. Travel, I thought, would assist me to step outside the machine. What machine? And all its discourses, and here I am, being swallowed up, disappearing. My body had suffered from being organized, or from not having some other sort of organization, or no organization at all. Oh, those western lands. The world neither exists nor does not exist. It's both at the same time. I walk, and I walk, and I walk in search of my shadow, in circles in the tower that is also a circle, in the wheel of time, the wheel of history. Time goes in cycles, and that each time period is a long one. The great whale, the great unconscious, the attractor, the machine. The machine is creating a new unconscious, actually writing over me. You're a program. I'm a program. You know this. I told you this. That's my job, to write program, to find the exploit. Here comes the night. I am the night. Yes, the night. Polish me up. There goes the armor. Voyage in place. That is the name of all intensities, even if they develop in extension. To think is to voyage. Come. Throw down our houses. Come. Save us from these larvae. Build us new houses. I lay down to sleep next to my beloved, waiting for day, and my love to awake. This love that is my strength, my bearing, my light, my love. It would be so wonderful just to go to sleep and drift into the unconscious. Or am I already there? I fall into slumber. The veil between inner and outer melts away to reveal one continuum. A single expanse stretches through our being, an interior cosmos. Without is everything that I feel within myself, and without and within myself, everything is immeasurable, illimitable. Birds fly in silence right through me. I am not going anywhere. I am only on the way. I am making a pilgrimage.